Today I'm going to make the boys' version of Brookhaven, and I'm going to add things that boys want, like houses, cars, and much more. And for that, I'm going to have to interview several players to see what they want. And after that, I'm going to make the girls' version of Brookhaven. But now, I called my friend to help me with this. And he said, now I'm Sigma. And I just realized that. But I don't know why he changed his face like that. It looks really weird. He said, I'm the most handsome person ever. Look, that's a lie. Because his face looks really weird. And his eyes are weird. And also his mouth is weird. But now I got into my car because I need to see what I'm going to add to my game. Since I'm making the boys' Brookhaven. He said, make the whole map blue. That's already a good start. And what he said is true. I'm going to make the entire map blue because that should be a good start. So now I'm in Roblox Studio where I can delete whatever I want. But I'm going to change the color of the buildings to blue. So I'm going to select the color blue. And the whole map turned out like this. But it looks really weird because even though it's the boys' Brookhaven, the map turned out horrible. So now it's going to go back to normal like this. But I'm going to change the color of the houses. Perfect. This house turned out like this. And it's half blue and half white because I don't want to make the house all blue. And I'm going to leave some details in white and some details in blue. Perfect. This is the final result of this house. And it's simply very beautiful. But I'm going to have to change the other houses and make all of them completely blue. Well, not completely blue, but most of the house is going to be blue. So I'm selecting some blocks from this house. Perfect. This house is blue. But now I also have to change this house. Perfect. It turned out like this. And now this house looks like this. And literally all the houses are blue, as if it were the boys' Brookhaven. And this is starting to look really cool. But there are some missing lots and also several missing locations because I modified the apartments a little so they would be blue, but I haven't changed everything yet. And guys, my friend is staring at me here, and he said, add blue trees too. It's going to be genius. Actually, that's going to be pretty weird, because trees aren't blue, but in Brookhaven there are already some weird trees, and I don't know if yellow trees even exist. He said, of course they exist, so I'm going to add blue trees too, because there must be some blue tree in real life. Perfect. I added a lot of blue trees, and it turned out really beautiful. And you can see that there are a lot of trees here, and some trees look like this, other trees look exactly like that, and other trees look this way. And I used 3 shades of blue to make it look nicer. But there are still a lot of trees missing because I didn't color those trees since I thought it would look ugly. But my friend is staring at me here, and he said, put it on all the trees. Okay, that's really weird. He just wants me to modify even these giant trees, but I don't know if that's going to look good. So I'm setting the color to blue because it kind of makes sense to change the color of these trees. But those giant trees might not look very nice. But I'm going to change it because my friend is asking. But he just grabbed this car, and he said, I'm going to interview the players to see what they want in the boys' Brookhaven. And now he's coming up here, and there are several people he has to interview. We have the player from this house, and we also have this player who closed off his house with these walls, and we also have this player who looks really weird. His house looks like a trap, so it's good that my friend is careful, because now I'm going to keep modifying Brookhaven. And a lot of trees are blue here, but they look really weird because the tree trunk also turned blue. So that's going back to normal. And now I finally managed to fix that, and the trees are blue, and the trunk is normal, and I'm going to have to modify all these trees. Perfect! I changed a lot of trees, and you can see that many trees are blue, but some stayed green because those trees are bugged. And when I select the tree, the trunk gets selected too. So unfortunately, there are some trees I won't be able to change. But guys, my friend is interviewing this player to see what he wants in Brookhaven, and he finally showed up here, and apparently he's a soccer player. My friend said, what do you want in the boys' Brookhaven? And even I want to see what he wants, but just looking at him, I'm pretty sure he wants something related to soccer. He said, I want a soccer field bigger than the entire map. And guys, that's actually pretty interesting, but he wants a soccer field like this, only bigger than the entire map. And that's impossible. And my friend is staring at him, and he said, that's impossible. Can it be a smaller soccer field? And it has to be a smaller soccer field. But this player ended up getting really scared, and suddenly he got mad. And now my friend got banned from here, and that's bad. He suddenly banned my friend, and he said, if you don't add what I asked for, I'll ban you too. So I'm going to have to add a giant soccer field, or I'll be banned from his house. But there's one detail, I'm not stepping inside his house, so I'm not going to get banned from here, because you have to step inside the place to get banned. And apparently I got banned, because he was waiting for me to step in. And that's weird, I don't know why he did that. But he said, you'll only be unbanned when you add the biggest soccer field possible. And I don't know if that's worth it. But he went back inside, and we got banned from his house. And maybe it's not worth getting unbanned from his house. But my friend came back normally, and he said, I'm going to get his safe, so let's get unbanned so I can do that. Okay, I'm going to help my friend get unbanned from this house, so we can get revenge on the player, and I'm sure it's going to work. So now we have this giant soccer field, and it's really interesting. And this is perfect, so I'm sure he's going to like this, because a lot of people can fit here. But now we're missing the soccer ball. ball, and I also have to place this somewhere. So I'm going to have to choose a place to put this, because this soccer field simply can't stay here, since it's on top of the whole city. So I'm placing it right here, and for that, I'm going to have to remove this island, and I'm going to have to remove these things. Now I'm extending this road so it reaches the stadium, but this stadium looks really ugly from the outside. So I removed it, and I'm placing this other one because it looks better. And now I'm placing this sand because I want it to look like a real island. And this is looking really beautiful, and it's almost ready. Just a few things are missing for it to work. I still need to add a soccer ball that works the right way, and also this part looks really weird. So I have to place something here to make it look nicer. But here on the Brookhaven Island, we have this exact block that goes right here. So I'm going to copy it and place it on the new island I'm building. And perfect! It turned out really nice, and it looks cool. But now I have to place this all over the stadium. But my friend is staring at me here, and he said, it's taking so long. By the time you're done, he's going to have left the game. Look, I'm sure he won't, because I'm almost done. But now I have to ask more players what they want me to add to Brookhaven. And I really want to know, because a player placed a wall at his house, and he made a giant wall at the gate, and I have no idea why he did that. Perfect! I just finished this, and the stadium is starting to look really beautiful. You can tell it's looking really cool, and it feels like a Brookhaven update. And my game is almost perfect. But once again, he's staring at me, and he said, let's see what he thinks about this. Okay, so I just got here because I want him to come see how my game is turning out. And I just handed him this tablet, and now he's seeing everything that's here. But he got scared, and I don't know why he got scared, and if he's happy or if he's mad. And it's really hard to tell. He said, the parking lot is missing, and then I'll unban all of you. But I can't make a parking lot, because this is in the middle of the water. So the parking lot can't go here. But I'm going to make some changes, and I'm going to place this parking lot right here. Perfect! I just did that. We have this parking lot, and also this barricade that stops players from coming here. But honestly, this is perfect, and it's the best soccer stadium I've ever seen, because it looks really beautiful. And guys, I want to see what he thinks about it. But he said, it's horrible. This is your last chance to improve it. And that's really weird. But suddenly he unbanned me, and I don't know why, probably because he thinks I'm going to step in here. But I won't. Actually, I'm just getting close to step on his house. And he's watching, and I really think I shouldn't step here, because if I step near his house, he'll try to ban me. So I stepped here, and now he's coming over to ban me. But he couldn't, and his plan really didn't work. But I'm going to finish my game, because there's just a little left for him to approve the soccer stadium I made. And there are some things I still have to improve. We have this bridge here, so I grabbed this part, and I'm going to place it right here. Perfect! I'm going to place it on both sides. And this is starting to look like a safer place. But there are a few changes I'll need to make until the player finally approves. And I'm starting to do that, but it looks really ugly right now, and soon it's going to look better. And now, after making lots of changes, I really changed too many things, and my game is looking really good. So I'm going to hand him the tablet so he can see how this turned out. And while he's coming here, I'm also going to show you how this is looking. In fact, my friend just got here and he's also checking how this turned out. And the soccer stadium ended up like this. You can see that this part turned out really beautiful, and for some reason, I took too long to make this. But if I come here, we have this barricade that I can't drive through, and it will stop people from getting inside the stadium with a car. So I just grabbed this ball, which I can hold in my hand, and now I'm bringing it up here, and I just scored a goal. But that's really weird, because it actually works, but in a very unexpected way, since I'm holding the ball. But guys, now I threw the ball up here, and the ball is landing right here. But I'll probably change that, because I don't want the games to work like this. And finally it was a goal, but I'm going to switch the ball. Perfect! I grabbed this other one, which I can actually kick, so I'm using it here, and it's really working, and I scored a goal. Now the soccer stadium is finally ready, and it turned out perfect. But I'm going to keep working on the boys' version of Brookhaven, because the game is not finished yet. And suddenly he got happy, and he said, I just have one last request, and I want to see what he's going to ask, especially because it's his final request, and will finally be unbanned. He said, change the color of the farm to blue, and that's a pretty strange request. I thought he was going to ask for something else, like a new car, but he wants me to change the color of this farm. So I just selected the farm, and now I'm going to change its color, and you can see the farm turned out like this. It's really blue, and the farm looks prettier this way, way better than before. But guys, now I have to steal the player's safe, because he banned us from his house. But it looks like he just left the game, and we're not going to be able to get his safe after everything he did to us. So now I'm going to this other house, because I want to talk to the player here to see what I should add to my game. And I also want to know why he built this giant wall, which is weird. But apparently he's in the pool, relaxing here in Roblox. And here on the right, I'm going to grab this ladder, and now I'll have to climb up here. Perfect! I'm getting up here, and I want to talk to him about this. I said, hey, why did you build that wall? That doesn't make any sense. But he just stood up and realized I'm up here. He said, so no one can spy on my house. Now get out of here. Wait, but before that I have a question, because I need to see what he wants me to add to my game. I said, I'm making the boys' version of Brookhaven. What should I add? And I want him to tell me what he wants. And so far he hasn't banned me, which is impressive. He said, add a wall dividing Brookhaven from the noobs. And I didn't understand what he meant, but he probably wants that because there's a wall at his house. So I'm going to do something even better. I'm going to make a challenge for people to enter the city, and if they complete the challenge, they can stay in the boys' Brookhaven. And apparently he agreed, since he's happy. He said, that'll be even better. And that's true. blue. But he's using animations, and depending on the animation he uses, his face changes, and that's really weird because it's animated. So now, I just removed that and added this other thing. And everyone who enters the boys' Brookhaven will have to do an impossible challenge. And if they complete this impossible challenge, they'll be allowed to enter the boys' Brookhaven. But anyone who fails the challenge will have to reset and won't make it through. But when people enter Brookhaven, they spawn right here, because this is the beginning of Brookhaven. So I need to make some changes. And I'm going to make this blue, and even the safaris is going to be modified, and that turned out pretty cool. But I'm going to hand him the tablet because I want to see his reaction once he realizes what I did. He said, "Wow, this is actually good." So I'm going to leave his house because I need to go to another house to see what the owner of that house wants. And until now, I haven't seen who lives in that house, but I'm finally going to find out. But for that, I grabbed my car because it's a really far place I have to go. Perfect, I just got here, and I have to talk to the owner of this house. I said, "I'm making the boys' version of Brookhaven. What should I add?" And he's going to have to decide something that I should put in my game. But looking closely at him, since he's a police officer, I'm sure he's going to want a prison. And he really said, "Add the biggest prison ever." And he does want a prison, but I want him to tell me something different because a prison isn't very interesting. He said, "I want supercars, but blue." And that's going to be really interesting. So I'll have to get supercars, like these on the right, but they'll need to be blue to represent the boys. And my friend is driving this car, and I'm arriving here too. And now I have to make my Roblox game exactly the way the player asked. I said, "Come back later, and I'll have to show how my game is turning out." And I don't know where my friend is going, but he's running, and he's doing some really weird stunts. So I just grabbed this Bugatti, but there's a problem, it's completely red, so I'll have to change its color. Perfect, I'm going to make it blue, but I'll pick a different shade. And now this color looks really good, and it really looks like a boy's supercar. But guys, I don't know what's happening here, but the player is locking us up, maybe because my friend drove too fast. I said, "What else should I add to my game?" And I want him to tell me something else. He said, "Add ramps," and that's actually going to be really interesting. But my friend ran away from here, and he took advantage of the police officer talking to me and just escaped. And now the police officer is going after him, and that's really weird. My friend is actually running from the police. But now I got this other car, which is also going to be blue, and that's really interesting. But there are some parts that aren't blue, so I just changed that. And this car is perfect because it can drift. But now something very important is still missing, the ramps that the police officer asked for. And I'm going to place this ramp right here, and it's going to be huge. I also placed one right here, and it's also going to be huge. And now I'm finally going to test my Roblox game. And even my friend came back here, but apparently he just left the game because he wants to join my game. And now I finally joined my game, but unfortunately the car disappeared from here, and I don't know what happened, but the car just vanished. But the fastest car of all is still here, which is really good. So my friend joined here, and I'm driving this car, and my friend came inside. But now I'm heading to the soccer stadium because I want him to see how it turned out. So I'm speeding over here, and suddenly I crashed the car. But I'm going to park it here because this is a great spot to leave it. And my friend is coming over here to see how the stadium turned out. And now he's going up there, but I'm going to let him play because I'm sure I can defend. And he's kicking the ball up here, and he's coming too, thinking he's going to beat me. But I'm running straight through, and I'm beating him. And it looks like he doesn't know how to run, and he's coming really slowly while I'm running because I know how to do it. And now I managed to score a goal, and I just beat my friend who was arriving super late trying to score this goal. He said, "I won. Look, actually you lost." But now I'm arriving right here, and all the players are here, and they're going to have to beat this challenge. And even I want to see if they're going to make it. But he started the challenge and already lost. And I'm going to start here too to prove that I can beat it. So I'm going to step right here, and I haven't lost yet. And now there are more players here, and they're going to have to beat this. And a bunch of people are coming up here and also losing. And I don't know how they're losing. But now he's coming up here, and this is actually easy because most of the path is already done. And now all of them are coming forward. And I want to see who's going to be the first person to reach the end. But a lot of them are losing. Guys, everyone is running up here, and I want to see if this time they're going to get it right. And it looks like he finally got it right. And they're really reaching the end after a long time. And finally they're getting here. They jumped right here, and now they just have one more thing to hit. But they're all really scared. And finally he got it. And he was the first winner of all. And they all ended up winning. But now they're going to battle, and I want to see who's going to win. And apparently he lost, and the ball player ended up winning. And guys, if you want to add me on Roblox, just click the Become a Member button. I'll add you on Roblox.